This podcast is a work of historical interpretation. While we strive for accuracy, some aspects of history are open to interpretation and debate. Thank you for listening.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Welcome to Time Tellers, where we explore the turning points that reshaped the United States. Today's story is about something so ordinary we rarely talk about it, until we're stuck in traffic.
It's a traffic light.
Nope.
Slow drivers.
Nope. The asphalt and concrete veins tie the country together. The interstate highway system.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of interstates, there is a crossing guard by my son's school that helps the kids cross the Bayfront, aka I-79, and he was hit today by a car.
That was him?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I saw the alert come across.
I was right behind the car, turning left. I was right in the car behind the car that hit him. I had to stop and find a safe place to pull over and talk to the cops. And I mean, he was talking and sitting up when I left, but the ambulance, it backed up traffic real fast.
Yeah. It said class 3, which isn't horrible, but.
Right. And my coworker that's how she comes from Girard, and she got real messed up because that traffic got, and somehow I still beat her to school.
I just spent the last week at Girard.
Well, you did.
And I offered you free tickets and you didn't come.
I know.
Sunday.
So we'll uncover how a 62-day Army convoy convinced a future president that America's roads were inadequate. We'll travel through the birth of this massive system, how it was sold to the public as an economic and military necessity, how it carved through cities, and what it destroyed in the process. We'll hear voices from the people it affected, trace its legacy, and examine what comes next. This isn't just the story of roads, it's the story of power, politics, technology, and transformation. And I'm ignoring your message that you just sent me.
Hey, at least I didn't say it. I didn't have to edit it.
Yes. In the early 20th century, America's roads were fragmented, muddy trails. Most were poorly graded, lacked signage, and turned into slush in the rain, making cross-country travel a grueling endeavor. In 1919, a U.S. Army convoy set out from Washington, D.C., bound for San Francisco to test military mobility. Among its 81 vehicles and 300 personnel was a young lieutenant colonel named, any ideas? Future president? Military?
Eisenhower?
Yes! Dwight D. Eisenhower. The journey took 62 days. Vehicles broke down constantly, and soldiers had to build makeshift bridges. Newspapers at the time described it as, quote, a mud-caked nightmare, unquote. Eisenhower himself would never forget it. In fact, later he wrote, quote, the old convoy left me with the conviction that something had to be done if the country was to be properly defended, unquote. Early attempts at improving roads included the Federal Aid Road Act of 1916, which allocated $75 million to help states build roads, but only on a matching basis. In 1921, the Federal Highway Act focused on a national network of 2-lane roads. These roads were narrow and winding and followed old wagon trails. Still, they laid groundwork for the U.S. numbered highway system, including the iconic Route 66.
Yay. Which we will be journeying on, and we will film at every 3 miles.
Oh my God. I have children and cannot go, unfortunately, on a road trip across the country. But traffic was exploding. By 1941, there were more than 30 million registered vehicles. Wartime needs pushed the government to begin serious long-range planning. Reports like Toll Roads and Free Roads, written in 1913, produced by the Bureau of Public Roads, and Interregional Highways in 1944, outlined a vision for modern expressways, limited access, high-speed, coast-to-coast corridors. Yet no one had the money, political power, or consensus to build them. Because remember, we are talking 50 different states? Well, 48, because it's a lower 48. They're not including
you
Alaska
can't
and
drive
Hawaii.
to Hawaii very
well, and neither one of them were states yet.
It would still be nice if they had the tunnel between Alaska and
the lower
Russia.
48. Oh, okay.
Oh, you can still drive to Alaska. You just got to go through Canada.
Yeah, you just have to go through Canada.
And you can actually get away with that without a passport.
Maybe not so much anymore.
No, you actually can do that.
How do you prove you're just going to Alaska and not like...
There's a whole process you have to go through. If you're doing it via land.
Huh.
Yeah,
I totally believe you. I'm
like,
just saying, like...
It's like you have to check in every so often at certain, like, police station kind of deals and all that.
You're like, hey, I'm still traveling up to Alaska.
Well, yeah, you have like, okay, so today you have to go,
Right. I'm sure that was all negotiated with deals and treaties that may be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. World War II changed everything. When Eisenhower saw Germany's Autobahn, a high-speed system of limited access roads built under Hitler in the 1930s, he realized its military value. Eisenhower remarked, quote, "The Autobahn was a critical asset for rapid movement and inspired what we needed at home," unquote. When Eisenhower became president in 1953, he was determined to fix the nation's roads. In 1954, he appointed a commission led by General Lucius D. Clay. Clay's team was made up of military officers, engineers, bankers, and insurance executives, not city planners or local leaders. Their focus: national security and economic growth. The result was the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, which passed with bipartisan support. It funded 41,000 miles of high-speed highway over 13 years, totaling $25 billion. And in today's money, that would be about $280 billion.
Oh, wow.
But why defense? The Cold War loomed large. The interstates would allow quick troop movement and civilian evacuation in the event of a nuclear war. Or so they hoped. Missile transport was another concern. Some interstates had to be straight enough for aircraft to land in emergencies, which has happened. Airplanes have definitely landed on interstates before.
Yeah.
A 1957 Pentagon memo stated, quote, "The interstate system will provide a basic network of routes for the movement of military forces and equipment in time of national crisis," unquote. Congress created the Highway Trust Fund through the Highway Revenue Act of 1956 to pay for it, primarily using the gas tax, set at 3 cents per gallon.
What's PA's at? I don't remember.
I don't know, but it's a lot higher than that. It made drivers fund the system they used. Unlike most federal programs, the states only had to contribute 10%. The Bureau of Public Roads ensured that all states met uniform engineering standards. Because this was a national thing. This is a federal thing. And federal things are supposed to have the whole supremacy clause attached to it. And this was to connect, the East Coast and the West Coast, mirroring slightly the Transcontinental Railroad that had happened a century before, give or take a few years.
Please listen to our Gauge War episode for fun things about that.
Francis C. Turner, one of the chief administrators, noted, quote, "We weren't just building roads, we were building unity," unquote. Every detail was standardized: road width, bridge clearance, signage font, which interestingly is called Highway Gothic, and even curve radius. Why? To make travel uniform and safe from Maine to California. Plus, you had a former military guy in charge of it. kind of makes sense. And I'm sure the bridge clearances have probably changed slightly because I feel like trucks and whatnot are bigger now.
Yeah.
And they might need higher clearances. At least.
Or from all the layers of repaving.
Right. Yep.
How many times has that hit trucks around here?
But like, I don't think they had semi-trucks like we do now, quite to that size.
No.
That doesn't
some of those military ones were probably pretty big.
Yeah, if they're basing it off like their biggest military, they might have been fine. I would have to actually look to see what.
I don't know. Did they have like transports for tanks and stuff, or were they just driving those that took forever across the country?
I would hope they would have transport. Yeah, you're right, because tanks aren't known for going fast. I mean, they're
30s.
fast, but they're not 65 miles per hour, which of course, cars weren't even that fast back then.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the average car speed would have been back then, but I still think it would have been faster than a tank speed. Plus, you don't want the wear and tear on your military tanks for driving them across country.
It was probably like 50 at that point in time. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe 55.
No,
maybe.
I don't think it was 55 at that point. I think it was still before that.
Hold on, let me see.
Oh, boy. Making you research.
What?
How dare I? Type faster. I shouldn't hear individual keystrokes.
It's probably. No, this is 1974, said 75. That's not correct. 55 miles per hour.
Really?
Yeah.
In the 40s?
It said, this is also the 70s. Okay, wait, hold on. Interstate. I'm going to say in the 50s.
Just say when Route 66 opened.
Well, let's see. By the mid-50s, cars could do 90 to 120 miles per hour. The tires were the problem. They didn't necessarily do. Oh, see, this is why. Okay, so in Route 66 speed limit in 1950s, there's no national speed limit until 1974. So that's why it's probably all over the place. 1960, some of them, California specifically, was 65 miles an hour. So.
That was pre-cruise control. Ugh.
The construction effort was staggering. By 1966, 1 mile of highway was completed every 2.5 hours. Not days, hours.
Yeah.
Compared that to the Transcontinental Railroad, that was not anywhere near that number. So we do have some notable engineering marvels. The Eisenhower Tunnel in Colorado is located in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. It's one of the longest tunnels in North America, stretching approximately 1.7 miles in length. Construction of the tunnel began in 1973 and took 11 years to complete, officially opening in 1993. I was 9 years old. It was designed to facilitate transportation through the mountainous terrain, significantly improving access between Denver and Summit County. During its construction, the tunnel faced numerous challenges, including geological instability that led to frequent collapses. Engineers employed advanced tunneling techniques to mitigate these risks, ensuring the safety and longevity of this vital transportation route. Today, the Eisenhower Tunnel serves as a critical artery for traffic traveling through the Rockies, showcasing engineering ingenuity and resilience. The Big Dig precursor in Boston. That's our next marvel. Interstate 93, a crucial highway that sliced through the heart of the city, was later buried under a massive, decades-long construction project aimed at correcting the urban scarring it caused. This initiative not only covered the highway, but also transformed the cityscape by creating parks, new public spaces, and enhancing the overall connectivity of the downtown area of Boston. The Big Dig, completed in the early 2000s, was one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in American history, symbolizing both the challenges of urban planning and the potential for city revitalization. And I put this in here because it just goes to show that we are still changing our interstates and improving them. Then there's spaghetti junctions. I'd never heard this term before. I don't know why, but I've not. Complex interchanges such as Atlanta's I-285 and I-85 exemplify remarkable civil engineering feats.
Oh, I thought you were offering me spaghetti.
No. These intricately designed road structures accommodate high volume of traffic while minimizing congestion and improving travel efficiency. The Atlanta Spaghetti Junction, officially known as the interchange of I-285 and I-85, is one of the busiest interchanges in the United States, serving as a vital nexus for commuters and freight transport. Its multi-level design features numerous overpasses, underpasses, and connecting ramps, illustrating the complexities and capabilities of modern transportation infrastructure. My parents used to live in Atlanta, or, well, Sewanee, outside of Atlanta. I went down there, I think, twice. I don't remember having to go through any spaghetti junctions.
I don't know.
That sounds
I
terrifying.
avoid Atlanta.
I don't know. Maybe my ex-husband was driving at the time and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know.
So you were sleepy. Got it.
Possible. I don't know.
Because that was before Monster was invented.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
When was the Monster invented? And how do you know when I was in Atlanta?
True.
So, little known facts. There were radiation sensors. Certain transport routes were discreetly outfitted with radiation detection equipment from the Cold War period, indicating a potential legacy of security measures. These sensors, originally designed to detect nuclear materials and radiation levels, may still serve an important role in monitoring safety and securities in these areas. Select stretches of I-80 were tested as emergency aircraft landing strips due to the relatively straight paths and minimal roadside obstructions. This testing was part of a broader initiative to enhance emergency response capabilities, allowing for quick landings in case of an in-flight emergency. The idea is based on the concept of using existing infrastructure to support aviation safely, especially in remote areas where traditional landing options might be limited. Evaluations included checking the pavement strength and ensuring adequate space for various aircraft sizes, which is all good, except, especially then, how did they inform the cars that were on the road that, oh, there's an airplane coming and maybe you should get off of it?
Probably the state police.
I mean, how much time, though? If you're having an emergency situation, like now they have those, like electronic billboards, and they have, like, the alerts that go out over cell phones and radio and stuff.
I mean, plus, if you see a plane coming into land, don't you think you'd...
But it might be too late at that point. I don't know.
Oh, or you just be one of those drivers that insist you have the right-of-way stuff.
This is my lane.
Or a pedestrian.
I'm
walking here.
Like, go somewhere else. I gotta get to work. Oh my gosh. Like, that would be hard before, like, the technology we have now. You're driving along the road, minding your own business. Suddenly there's an airplane landing.
Kind of like the airplane that ran off the runway in Erie.
I know. That we just had an anniversary of that not too long ago, actually.
Yeah.
I sent a picture to my dad. Because it was a U.S. airplane, and that he was working for U.S. Air, possibly at the time it happened. But
so it's his fault.
We worked here, and he worked in sales. He wasn't flying the airplane.
So he sold that plane.
He was like a ticket sales.
Oh.
Kind of like.
That kind of sales.
Yeah, like he.
I was going to say, do they actually need people to sell the planes? I mean.
Yes, they did.
Not anymore, they don't.
Maybe not. But in St. Louis, during routine interstate evacuation for infrastructure improvement, workers unexpectedly uncovered mass graves dating back to the Civil War era. These graves are believed to contain the remains of soldiers who fought in the war, as well as civilians who suffered from the conflict. The discovery has prompted a thorough archaeological assessment and has delayed construction projects by several months as historians and archaeologists worked to preserve the site and understand its historical significance. Wow. Okay.
Do you forget how to talk?
Apparently. I'm sure this happened in more places than St. Louis, but the cost wasn't just financial. For example, Benny Thomas, a lifelong resident of Detroit, recalled, quote, "One day we had a block with stores, homes, people. Then the bulldozers came. No warning. Our community was wiped off the map," end quote.
Oh, boy.
Well, it's the one storyline from the movie Cars.
Yeah.
Thousands of Black, Latino, and working-class neighborhoods across the United States were displaced during the mid-20th century, particularly during the construction of urban highways. This displacement often occurred with minimal or no fair compensation for residents, leading to significant economic and emotional hardships for families and communities. The implementation of highways reinforced segregation not only by demolishing homes, but also by establishing physical boundaries that divided communities and limited access to vital resources such as employment, education, and healthcare. These injustices contributed to a legacy of inequality that persists today, as many affected neighborhoods continue to struggle with the long-term impacts of disinvestment and social fragmentation, further exacerbating disparities in wealth, health, and opportunity. So it was good and bad, depending on who you were and how it affected you. The benefits of the post-war era were undeniable. The trucking industry boomed, significantly enhancing the distribution of goods and enabling businesses to streamline their logistics. Suburbs flourished as families sought more space and a better quality of life, leading to a rapid expansion of residential areas and community amenities. Motel chains like Holiday Inn exploded in popularity, catering to an increasing number of travelers on the interstate highways that connected major cities. Fast food giants such as McDonald's capitalized on the growing vehicular traffic by establishing locations near highways, revolutionizing the way Americans consumed food on the go and setting a new standard for convenience in dining. I don't know why I couldn't say the word revolutionize, but
Don't ask me.
By 1972, the system had moved more freight than all railroads combined. However, we did have the problems, some of that I mentioned already. Urban decline, cities saw property values drop near the interstates, pollution, highway construction destroyed wetlands and increased smog, and the collapse of public transit. Highways took funding and ridership away from trains and buses.
Well,
A 1973 New York Times editorial read, quote, "We built the roads and lost our cities," unquote.
So you thinking we built the city wouldn't have fit in this situation?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's like when you have something this monumental, you're going to have both positive and negative. Every change has positive and negative aspects to it. Some more than others.
Yeah.
The 1970 Clean Air Act and NEPA, which stood for National Environmental Policy Act, forced a reckoning. Like Jane Jacobs in New York City, grassroots protests successfully halted some expressways, sparking the freeway revolt of the 70s.
The Freeway Revolt? That
Yeah.
sounds like a band name.
It does sound like a band name.
I'm going to look that up. See if they
It's
exist.
not... Oh, they might exist. I mean, it does sound like a pretty cool band name. Today, the interstate highway system, a critical component of America's transportation infrastructure, spans an impressive distance of over 47,000 miles. This extensive network of highway facilitates the efficient movement of goods and people across the country, accounting for approximately 1/4 of all vehicle miles driven in the United States each year. This system not only supports the economy by enabling commerce and trade, but also plays a vital role in connecting communities and enhancing accessibility for millions of Americans. Yet it's crumbling. A 2022 report by the American Society of Civil Engineers graded the roads in general a D+. Repairs were underfunded and bridges were aging. We just had in Philadelphia, the collapse of the I-95.
I don't remember which bridge it was, but I think that's it.
And we had, by we, I mean the public in Pennsylvania had that rebuilt within months. I was going to say a month. But yeah, it was crazy how fast the state was like, nope, we're fixing this real fast.
Yeah.
And did you ever see a report of why it collapsed? Do we know why it collapsed?
I don't remember.
Yeah, but that was like a positive thing in like a not so positive time.
Yeah. They didn't rebuild the Boston Bridge yet, did they? They still working on that?
I don't know. Let me see. It was 2023, and it says the extreme heat caused the northbound lanes to collapse.
Okay, so just wear and tear.
Yeah, which I feel like that's what this report was talking about specifically. But also it says a tractor trailer that overturned and sparked a blaze underneath the interstate did not help the situation. Okay, I just wanted to see how long it took. Because I can't remember, it wasn't even that long, but long ago. But the repairs have cost $16.7 million.
That's not that bad for what it is.
Right? So far. Yeah, it was 12 days, according to this. 12 days. And the days after the collapse, crews worked around the clock and on live stream to reopen the highway. 12 days later, on June 23rd, 2023, the highway bridge over Cotman Avenue was reopened using a locally made glass aggregate. Yeah, that is, to me, very surprising that they were able to fix it in 12 days.
That's like Asian construction speed.
I mean, it's a positive thing that came out of a not so great situation.
Yeah. I've just seen some of those videos of like those like bridge machines that they have in Japan and whatever that they make to,
So also, as technology changes in our world, new demands have emerged when it comes to our interstate system. We have electric vehicles that need charging infrastructure, autonomous vehicles that require road sensors and 5G connectivity. And climate change has forced new materials and flood-resistant designs. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021 earmarked $110 billion for roads and bridges, but critics say it's just a drop in the bucket.
Oh, boy.
Then Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said, quote, "We're fixing the mistakes of a past and preparing for a more equitable, resilient future," unquote. I don't know if I necessarily think we were fixing mistakes. It's just we structured it the way it needed to be. Like,
yeah,
you can't predict the future. But hopefully resilient future hangs out there. I like that. The interstate highway system represents more than just a collection of concrete and steel structures spanning across the nation. It served as a vivid reflection of America's underlying fears, aspirations, and the contradictions inherent in its society. While this vast network of highways facilitated greater connections between cities and communities, fostering economic growth and mobility, it simultaneously created divisions. It divided neighborhoods, often marginalized communities, and altered the fabric of American life in ways that continue to resonate today. The highways brought us closer together in many ways, but they also exemplify the tensions between progress and the cost to local identities and environments. It's that conflict, that progress always
That's why I always need those little bridges for deer to get over.
Yeah. Yep. As we confront the challenges of the 21st century, from climate to justice to mobility, we should remember that infrastructure isn't neutral. It reveals who we value and the future we are building. Thank you for joining us on Time Tellers. And then I wrote, drive safely, especially if you happen to be listening to us in the car. Obey all traffic signs.
And remember, turn right on red when you're in a place that allows you to. Don't just sit there.
You are under no obligation to turn right on red, even if you're allowed to.
If you have your signal on, yes. Don't just sit there and wait for it to turn green.
Okay, if you have your turn signal on, you should probably actually do it.
As long as there's not a sign that says, no turn on red.
Yes, and if there is a sign that says, no turn on red, listen to it. And don't honk at the person in front of you that isn't turning right on red, especially if there's a sign that says, no turn on red.
But we know reading is hard for some people.
And comprehension even harder. I mean, anyways. So thank you for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed this Interstate Highway System episode.
And just wait till we do the one on Route 1 and the one on Route 66. Those will be fun.
Anyways, bye.